So, welcome back to more Astral Chain, more content from Astral Chain, and to File 2's whole case and collection. So, we're just going to be doing that, and stated from the previous one, from File 1, every case from this point forward is going to be a spliced run, meaning each chapter, not each case, with a couple exceptions, each chapter is going to be in its own spliced run to show like all S pluses maximum like achieved normally. You could get these on your own. It's gonna take a while. So let's just stop lollygagging around and actually start case 2 or file 2. I keep saying case. Start file 2 and let's just have some fun with this shit. Or the whole shebang. So we're starting file 2's completion. We are at voiceovers. And usually, when these things are being recorded, I would do it off like my editor's own voiceover thing. But since I don't like that one, I'm just gonna be going off Audacity. So yeah. But yeah, no, we're doing file 2. We're starting it off, and each chapter is where you see like a little loading screen show up. So like chapter 1 for every case or every file in this game is always Neuron. So you can just have fun, go to Neuron. You can upgrade here. You can do all that stuff. And there's usually like 5 items you can get, 4 to 5 items in each case for Neuron.
Really hasn't changed.
So usually you can just get the story, and then you can walk around all around. You can walk all around Neuron to find all the items. Usually I get all the items, but there are some that I leave behind just for the completion sake. But if it's out of your way, I didn't grab it. But if it's like in the way of buying medicine from Brenda, upgrading with Tabitha, going to the Legatus terminal next to Richard, or going to the garage, I usually don't grab them. So it's just that simple to understand. But right now I'm just going to be going through just do some maintenance on my legions, because it's just become a habit at this point. I should probably start doing these off recording, like get their maintenance before even doing the recordings for the completion. But it's just some small thing I like to do. Also, if you've noticed that there is a brand new thing for our good old character. I've changed the color of our player character, and I'm going to be doing this for the remaining of the completion for each file and Act 3 of this game, because it's pretty fun, and I understand it would be kind of weird to just see the blue color and no customization that this game can offer you. So today we're going to be doing, or today we're in the medical set for the color. The actual name would be on the screen. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you get this color for beating chapter or file 1. Not completing it, just beating file 1. So this is one of like the easiest ones to grab, and one of the first colors you always grab. So it's a fun color. It's white cyan, like white and like a lime, not like a lime, like a mint green and stuff like that. It's very cool. And there is one for completing or for beating this chapter as well, which you're going to be seeing in the next episode. But other than that, it's just going to be also some Legion upgrading as well. But I will say this, Legion upgrading is always on the gene code, but if you want to unlock more stuff for your Legions, it's both combined to your material code. And the material code in this game, you grab them from you grab them mostly from chests and dropped items and buried items from completing this game. So every time you like get a buried item, a dropped item, or a chest, the first time is usually a code, with some exceptions that give you cosmetic stuff. And every other time you open a chest, you pick up a dropped item or unearth a buried treasure, it will give you like a random item, ripped stuff, temporary items, stuff of that nature you can sell. Hell, even cat food. So it's a good thing to just, if you want to keep getting a lot of items, to keep replaying the chapters for more of these stuff. But if you don't want to, you just want to do it for the first time, it's usually fair. It's usually like enough to beat the game, to like completely upgrade every single Legion in this game and grab your thing. But right now, as of this like voiceover recording and how I'm doing my recordings right now for the rest of the files, I've gotten everything I need for good old abilities in the game. There's a couple more I want to grab, at least one for the Arrow Legion and one for the Arm Legion, but for the Beast Legion I'm fine. I might have to switch over my Axe Legion, but I still love it. And Sword is Sword, and I just love using double sword or spiral swords and autobind. But yeah, I can just change stuff like that. We're going through the parameters, we're going through like ability codes to give to our legions as well. And usually your best bet for just doing S pluses and stuff like that is attack up, because it increases your attack, critical up or critical damage plus, because when you crit in this game, it increases the critical damage and not your critical rate. Critical rate is just like increasing your dexterity in the game. And if you increase the critical rate, you're more likely to get crit damage, but it's the same damage. While critical damage plus increases the critical damage. So you can like combine the two or find one that has a critical rate up as its secondary effect from critical damage up. Another thing is like quick cooldown, which is just self-explanatory. Quick cooldown, your cooldowns for your arts for each legion is faster, so stuff like Blue Shield won't be that long, Howl won't be that long, and all that. It's very good to grab a bunch of them, or grabbing some like secondary effects that have, see if you can find a secondary effect of quick cooldown in your art as well. But other than that, we're just trying to go around and upgrade. And how chapter or file 2 for me worked is that I had to do it 3 times, like 3 recordings, but I have 2 video files on it. So it's just as simple as I try to get everything on my first attempt. I try to grab every chest, every dropped item, every buried item, and every S plus on my first attempt. And then look where I missed chests, look at where I missed S pluses, and then record from the chapter behind that onward for some seamless transitions. It's not that bad. You try to like figure it out, but it's usually like a simple process of just try to get everything you can on your first attempt. Everything after that is just as simple as like resetting the chapter and keep on going from there.
You guys need something?
I will say that this first part has the only photo order. Chapter 1 has the only photo order from this game, which is just taking a picture of our dad. And it just gives you like the dichotomy and the range of your photo orders. Because if you saw in chapter file 1, the photo order there was just to grab a picture of the invisible enemy, which is in the middle of fights, and this one's just as simple as taking a picture of our dad. So you get to see like the 2 far ends of that spectrum, and then everything else in the middle is either a combination of that or something else.
Seeing him here with Jen
And
Alicia,
I will say this: every first attempt of this run
weird.
will always be guaranteed with photos on the astral plane sections, enemy fights, and some small subject matters. If it's a person I can take a picture of and get their name on the data sheet on my PC on Neuron, then I'm going to take a picture of it. If it's an enemy I can take a picture of that I haven't already, I'll take a picture of. Usually I leave my legions for last, but if I take a picture of that by accident in the middle of the recording, so it's also going. I try to save my legions for the last because it just gives me something to just take a picture of in the training room for all that. One of the achievements in this game is to legitimately fill your photo album with pictures, so you could just waste your time taking pictures or try to actually make pretty decent photos of some of the bullshit in this game. I mean, my personal file has some pretty good photos that I love to this day. But yeah, one of the achievements in this in this file, or not in this file, in general, is to take a picture of everyone in Neuron. So like every officer in Neuron, Yosef, Olive, Brenda, everyone in this thing has to get a photo opportunity. People watch is just for, I think, putting 10 people in your little personal log. The blue case in this one is just a simple. You already saw it in the beginning of the game. You just put on your goddess, turn on your iris to see the PC. After that, you just skip the training and then you're fine. So like file 1 is usually this, or chapter, chapter 1 is usually like the same. If you saw me do it in the LP, it's still the same. There's just one extra blue case I did because, well, we just went upstairs after that. After getting the call from Olive, we can actually see that the next blue case is right there. This concerned medic wants to give some medicine to his friend that is in the floor upstairs from us. You just give that to the officer and you get a free blue case and some free stuff. It's not that bad. It's an easy blue case you can do in combination with learning how to play this game and the tutorial this game gives you. So you can just do these two on your first attempt, even just without even knowing what these are. You're just fine. I also try to keep the text here for like a couple, like at least half a second or a second, so you guys can actually like read them if you want to when you press the spacebar. Because I'm not reading these because it will take a while. Also because yes, since these are being pre-recorded, I cannot like get myself to read them in the time frame I give myself. Other than that, it's just going to be as simple as just getting to where the command room is, and then we can just leave. There's no more blue cases after the two we just showed. So just get those two, go to Neuron, look at the headquarters, and you'll be fine. But I will say that every single officer in this game has a voice and does show up in cases. People like Marie, Alan, Richard, Lee Fawn, Avery, Mitsuri are in the games that you saw from the normal progression of this game. Same thing with Shizu. But some other characters don't show up, or they're in their own personal like red case or blue case associated with them. And I think most of them will show up later in the game in a different chapter. So that's just it. After getting everyone's picture, I just go to the meeting with Max the Roof. Basically, since this is file 2, we don't have the fast travel we can do, so we actually have to run back to the elevator to go up. I know for me, I usually try to go to the try to use the elevator to see where everything is on the way, but after that I just use these fast travel points to just move around. Chapter 1 is done. Everything in Neuron has been completely gotten. So after that we go towards the second chapter of this game, and where everything actually starts becoming a real thing. And it is very fun to try to do just a single run, trying to get the most S+ as you can in the game. But how this red case goes, if you saw in the LP, we have to get some keywords to investigate it. So if you remember, if you get the right one, you get the progression bar to go up, and if you only get those, you get the achievement, or you get the bonus points of just the facts. To get an S+ in this single, or in this case, you have to get just the facts, meaning you have to get both Drag Through the Gate and Big Hands, and then also get the questions, and solve the questions correctly to get the S+ in this rank. I had to re-record this chapter because I got one extra one that wasn't part of the 2, so I got an S rank. And yes, that one difference does cost you an S, or an S+. So try to figure out where the 2 are. Usually for these detective cases, it's always just the facts. If you cannot get just the facts, then try to get everything, which is informant. So after that, you get the prompt to just follow the trail, and I usually do that in combination of trying to get both chests in this area. And coming up, we get to see another chest on the side. These 3 chests are usually in the way, so you can see them. So if you skip them, you're just trying to beat the level first and foremost. Under this like shutter is the first, or the toilet for this chapter. This chapter has the toilet behind a gutter, and once you go through that toilet for the first time, you get a tarp. So it's a very funny thing to grab, because I think the original one was just like paper. But yeah, also, since this is a spliced run, there are going to be attempts where I do everything for the getting everything else in the game, but I can't get it on a second run because, well, I've already collected it. So the toilet was one of them, if you saw a little transition a while ago. Some others are cats and a specific enemy that I talked about in the previous file. But for now, we get to see this red case that if you guys remember, I got my first game over to. But how this case file usually goes for cases, to get an S plus, you just have to do mostly just focus on sync attacks, focus on dodging a lot so you don't take that much damage, focus on using your skills, and if you can, use a lot of legions, and then you'll be fine. If you just vary your good old usage of legion skills, legions in general, and your own physical sync attacks, you'll be fine. You'll be getting S pluses for a lot, especially since now that you're over leveled for these chapters, you can just have your time also be very short, because they also time you on these. The shorter you take to defeat these red cases, the more points you get. So try to be nice in your way of doing it. If you can't, then you can just always do it again, and always try to abuse the fact that House on every enemy except bosses, and blue shield to protect yourself. You can also use bind to your advantage if you're waiting for your health to recharge, and at the end of that, you'll just be getting these legions on Zaketsu. And every single enemy does, as I said, have its own thing. And the aberrations for the police officers are their own aberrations. So as you saw before, there was a male and female for both of them. There's one for the officers as well. So get those and you'll be fine, and you'll remember that you can get it.
Okay, back to
this chest here behind the or next to the red car, if you just pick it up, you'll be granted to this brand new enemy. This enemy here is a gold slime that is also placed in the compendium for us. But this slime is very fast. He is immune to every single legion skill, which will be shown later because I didn't think they were. But they have very low HP, and a couple sync attacks is enough to destroy them. If you destroy the slime, you get slime splatter for that file and 777 gene code. If you get it on your first attempt, that's fine. You can just get it. But they're not gone from the game entirely. So you just have to go back to that area and restart the chapter to grab that. That drop, or that sparkle I just shot is not meant to grab it. It's not meant to get now, because you're supposed to grab it later in the mission. The actual one you're supposed to shoot is the one at the lantern right now, because I know I kept missing one dropped item when I was recorded this. So it was as simple as, alright, there was a dropped item. I shot the one in the building, figured out that was a different one, and then I started looking around, and then I found it. This item right here is always one that I missed before in previous chapters, because it's near the truck, and it's always out of my sight, so it's always out of my mind. And it's one I had to keep repeating to record just to get it over and over again. Coming to this little alcove here, we get the instance of
busy, but see that guy over there?
a brand new thing of mobile eavesdropping. Basically, this person, you just have to follow him with the Legion. As you can see that you usually need to be a distance away from him. If you're too close to him, he'll just start talking about some other stuff and won't give you the information. You're just supposed to like keep your legion on him, get the information. Once it gets to 100, Olive will say something about binding him up, bringing him to justice and stuff like that. So you just like bind him and all that. You can do auto bind, or if you're close enough, you could just grab him normally. But this is like a simple blue case to do. I just didn't do it in the LP because he was just out of the way, and I wanted to get through each chapter as fast as I can. Just showing the required ones you can do. In the little alcove here, there's like a couple chests you can grab, and if you think that you could just use this garbage can to destroy the laser pods, you can't, because the Arm Legion either throws it at the wall, or I've seen it in a previous recording, is that the trash can gets destroyed by the lasers. So just try to shoot it out with the Arrow Legion's signature, and then you'll be fine. And that's like the only chest in that alcove there. Going through here, there's like one more chest we can grab that I think I just passed up in the original LP. And the next blue case coming up is the one where you have to bind 2 suspects. So, as stated in the files, that you can either use your normal bind, or you have auto bind at this point. You can just auto bind to both of them, and it makes it a lot easier for you to grab it.
Should be able to handle this.
And these 2 chests here are also like something you can grab as well. That's like the fruits of your labor. And coming up is that one of the chests is behind this fire. You have to use the Axe Legion shield to go through it. But apparently I just told my Legion to go back in the cradle. But I had enough like iframes from getting out of it, they could just dodge out of it. I don't know either. But yeah, also you can hear like that Ocular is also getting hit from trying to follow us into the fire, which is really funny to hear. But he'll just normally teleport to like behind you and all that stuff, so you don't have to worry about him being in pain and just being stuck, because the developers did think about that. Coming up here is the other like gate closal we can do, like required for this mission. And something I figured out is that if you position yourself correctly, which you'll see here, like by this corner and do an auto bind, it doesn't connect, but that's not that far from the corner. You just have to actually have the gate disposal there, and then you can auto bind it. It makes no sense, but it's funny that it does that. Here's like our first optional like astral plane section for this chapter. There's no way you can grab it normally, and you don't even know that it's there until you open the shutter with the Arm Legion. It's a very nice thing. Like technically your first astral plane section is not with well, I forgot his name, with the enemy we get at the end of this file, but just this if you technically have the Arm Legion. There are some like small collectibles you can grab here as well, not overly, but there's only like 2 chests here and I think a couple dropped items. But I think I may be wrong. It's just 2 chests, one behind a movable block, and the other one you just have to chain jump towards using the guide to redirect yourself. And these sections are very fun to do because like a mini astral plane, they're not connected to the grandiose ones you see later in the game. So just try to go through these as fast as you can and use the skills of each legion to your advantage. There's no time limit in these, so basically the only thing you have to worry about for like NS Plus is just the fight at the end. Going through these, you're not timed, you're not getting a rank on all this stuff. Just go to the end, beat the Legion, and you'll be incredibly fine. You don't have to worry about anything else. And also, like in the previous attempt on this, I always see like an alcove I can do, or an alcove I can see, and I keep thinking that's like a separate area that I can't get to, and then I follow the path around it, and I just feel like a giant idiot because it's just an alcove. Just seeing that area. It's not in this one, which is sad that I can't show you. But if anything, it's very funny that my own side and my own like tendencies to see it for everything else is blocked. But we're nearing the end of this astral plane. Just hop on this block we just moved and hop into this little arena section, and we get to fight a actual brand new enemy we don't see until very later, Orthrus. Whole point of Orthrus is that he's a winged dog, so he usually stays up in the air a lot and does a lot of tornado attacks, which is very cool. And yes, I did take a picture of this man, but I tried to like keep the. I want to always. I think this is one I didn't do. Try to keep the cutscene for the introduction of each of these new enemies in that isn't from like the main game. So like the ones for like Hestia, the shield enemies and stuff like that are gonna be skipped, but the cutscenes for Orthrus and the others are gonna be shown. But just defeat Orthrus with a bunch of syncs and all that. You'll be getting an S+ on that. And you can just continue on with the story and all that. Right now we're going to be going to where, I think it was Cressidus. Start grabbing enemies to steal to the astral plane. There's no more like chests after this one. Just grab it and then you can move your ass towards like helping the civilians and all that. Like in this little area here, you just have to grab it. How to like usually deal with the aberrations that I usually do the 360 input for the Sword Legion, which is very fun to do. You just do the 360 for yourself, sync attack it with the Sword Legion, and so you're gonna be constantly doing spin cycles. Like 2 hits from the Sword Legion is enough to just destroy the aberrations. So just do that. Once you see everyone down, you could just let go, or just keep doing sync attacks if you want. But yeah, as soon as you beat these aberrations towards the door, if you turn around, you see a little area with graffiti and all that. There's like a good chunk of astral matter here, or red matter, and then a chest you can just grab. That is very out of the way to grab, but if you know where it is, you can just we'll grab it for more stuff. And also, like, I tried riding here with the Beast Legion on a different attempt, and it still knocks you out. But you just have to basically defeat these aberrations. We're almost at the red case where you have to defend everyone from the aberrations and chimeras coming out of the portals. But where the trash can is, there is a buried item here that you can grab with the Beast Legion. And it's like one I missed in a previous attempt, but it's a very simple one. Also, you can just like grab the trash can, throw it out to get some like more medicines and a lot of like shredded stuff, which is really good for well, just selling. And like mostly when you do the completion for this game and you get a bunch of broken stuff, you can get a lot of money. Also, every time you do this case, every single person's or like the survivor's spawn point is random, and having them by the wall next to the invisible wall kind of sucks because they're very near the spawns of every enemy, so you have to try twice as hard to just defeat them and not get blindsided by every enemy that is spawning. But if you're doing like the 360 sync attack with the Sword Legion, you'll be fine because you could just hit everyone in a mile radius. If you still are like having a hard time with this, you can do Howl near the people, and if there's any enemies near them, they'll be stunned, and then you could just hit them with either another Sword Legion 360 or an Axe Legion 360, since every person it hits, it gives it a bomb. Also, if you didn't collect any of the items during the cutscene, or before the cutscene, you'll just see them in the background, which is very funny. It's like these are not like pre-rendered; these are like on the spot, which I find very funny. But this building here, you get a clearer shot on getting the sparkle that we shot at the ground floor. But if you go through the side path, you get to see a chest on the left and a trash can. If you throw the dumpster, our cat for this file is under, so you can pick it up for Max's safe house. and that's Case 2's feline friend down. You can still pick up the trash can in later files, but I usually get items stuck in the alcove again, so I just ignored the pill for that one, and I just ran towards where I can go. And one other thing is that
Can you hear me?
by the time you get Olive's
I'm picking
message,
up a really strong signal near your
you're gonna be going to
location.
the next file. So if you want to like
Keep your
heal,
guard up, okay?
do some like mini updates for your Legion skills and abilities, you can do that. But now we're gonna be going to like the fight with Cressidus, and it's gonna be a simple one because since we're so over leveled for this fight, the phase is gonna be going a lot faster, and you're gonna see the main mechanic of this fight, which is the like using your Legion to hit the switches to get you out of an enclosing area as fast. But getting a this plus in this one is just as simple as just do it fast, but also like use your sync attacks to your advantage. And you're gonna hear that a lot. Also, one other thing during this file is that you can actually hit it with the 360, and it's very funny to do. Also, one other thing is that apparently, or yeah, during this recording, a lot of people, like my dog, ran over my capture card, which caused it to disconnect a bit, which is kind of sad. But yeah, no, I think in like later recordings I don't have any interruptions on that to cause it to do that. Once you see like the first floor crash into the second, you already know you're in the second phase, and you can just know that you're almost done. You just have to go and beat them a couple more. And I think after this second spin cycle, it's just our beat. It's very funny that you can see that. You get no satisfaction of destroying him, but idle hands, you get the full-on S+. But we are almost done with this file. If you remember that there's two more fights, and then we are done. And then the remaining chests in this area are just
Heavy feeling? That's
the
a symptom of
3
which-
that you can just grab on your
Not
way.
to scare you, but all of your
Like you're
corruption
just
levels
walking
have
by.
been steadily climbing since you went through the gate.
So
None of you are
in
the danger
general,
zone yet. Maybe you have the legions to
it's
thank
just
for
a
that.
simple
Worst
case.
scenario,
File 2 is not
you
that
might
bad
find
for
your Legion
completion.
sync
There's like
levels
1-2
dropping
cases you
dangerously
will
low.
mess up for S+,
Check on the
one being the
signals, then get out
first
there as fast as you can.
detective case, which
I'll keep an eye out for a gate you can use.
if you kept getting everything, like every information, then yes, you're gonna miss them, but just try to do that. Also, the red matter removal for 80%, you could just get a majority of them from just the main game if you're doing it correctly. But if you're going for the other side stuff, you're gonna guarantee yourself the red matter removal as best as like 90. In this attempt, I got up to 100, which means I cleaned everything up, which is like
Over there.
a source of satisfaction and like
They look hurt.
bragging rights. But get to this cutscene here, and then we get to go to the time section where your player character and your dad Max is just here to defend. And basically, I just went here with just the spin cycle of the Sword Agent. I just brought up Blue Shield and went for spin cycle. It's very funny, but you don't have to do this. You can just do like hows and stuff like that.
Just a little more.
No, here we're going to like the halfway point. We just gotta do a couple more attacks, a couple more time to go, and then we are gonna be stuck doing the sword nemesis fight, and that's very fun. But if you're doing in the middle of a sync attack and you get the cutscene that puts you on your knees of the red matter shift, it's very funny because you get to see your sync attack just stop midway. For this part of the case, it's just as simple as do damage with your Gladius and just try to dodge your sword nemesis attacks.
Gotta be something we can do to save them.
The only time that I usually get hit by the sword nemesis is his 360 because it's kind of unreactable. You just have to know it's going in, because once I get hit with like the first attack, I know it's gonna do it's 1 and 2. There's an audio cue for the spin attack, but if you're hearing the conversation as well, it makes it a little hard to notice.
Looks like that's our only option.
But if you like do enough damage to the sword nemesis before the speech is done, you can't capture it until the speech is done. So just do damage with the Gladius. If you want to do more rapid fire damage, then you can go for the bust or the baton. But usually, if you want to save time, go for the Gladius, even though its attacks are pretty slow. Once you capture your Sword Legion again, you get to go fight the other 4 Nemesis. Nemesis?
What's going on?
Well, the other Nemesis.
Legion's increasing. It's off the chart.
And basically how to do this one as an S plus is just basically, since your sync attacks are automatic, like you have auto sync on,
Now's our best chance.
just
Gotta do
have
this while
fun,
distracted.
spam sync attacks, use howls from your Beast Legion to keep the Nemesis at bay, use your blue shield if you don't want to take a lot of damage. If you have troubles with one Legion in general, or one of the Nemesis, just use those 2 as your best bet, as like your backup if you don't want to do damage. Binding them also does damage as well, so they have to swap out for the next one. The Sword Legion's round sword is also really good in this fight because since you're keeping the legions close to them and you're doing a lot of sync attacks, it does damage over time combined with a sync attacks or a binds attack, because it makes it bind them, and then if you're doing the sync attack for both of them, it keeps doing the residual damage from the sword. Crush Bomb is also another phenomenal thing to choose for this fight, because since during the part where all 4 Legion or all 4 Nemesis shows up to attack you, if you place a correct Crash Bomb, it hits everyone. It will speed up the process and the fight a lot more. But now we're at the second part where every Nemesis just is slow or getting out faster and faster. You just have to do 1 howl and 1 spin cycle to get rid of them. But if you know what you're doing, you don't have to worry about that. Just do the damage against each of the Nemesis. Once the wall breaks, you get to fight all of them. I already used my Crash Bomb, so I can't use it again, and I think I've used my howl before, so I couldn't even do both of them to keep myself at bay. So I just went to where Sword Shield did, Brown Sword to stop it, and a bind to do residual damage to some other Nemesis while binding up the Beast Nemesis. Once you get to the point where the game tells you about chain jumping, you're automatically done with the section and you can get your rank from there. And as you can see, I'm still a master at chain jumping. They don't penalize you for like missing a jump and all that, so just get your bearings correct, see where the reticle of your Legion is, and you'll be fine. And with that out of the way, this entire file is basically done. So it's just as simple as doing all these. I'm really like underselling how hard some of these missions are, but later on you're gonna see how hard some of these missions are, because they don't give you enough time. The enemies are weak enough, and you can't. Since the enemies are like weak enough that you can't get your sync attacks and you can't do your long attacks, so you have to like optimize them on the fly. There's like no set pattern to doing the S pluses. But after just coming out of the Astral Plane, we are done with Awake. We have gotten all the chests, the dropped items, and our buried items. And every single red case has been S plussed, and every single blue case has been done. And usually, I would be showing you what you would get out of this promotion to Elite, but I got called out during this recording, and when I came back, everyone wanted to go into my room and kick my capture card to hell, so you're gonna be like seeing a lot of static and a lot of like flashing screens, so I could just end it off right here to save you guys the trouble and a headache. So, next time when we meet again for a voiceover, we're gonna be doing File 3's collection and cases. And which wasn't that bad. I liked it, but you're gonna hear my gripes with one of the blue cases that they don't even tell you, that I had to go figure out on my own. But that's just waiting for the next one, though. Thank you all for joining me today, and hope you all have a wonderful day.